Hello guys, welcome to today's video, and today I have something very cool to show you guys. I'm going to review, document, and demo this really cool guitar right here. This is the Dean VMNT Dave Mustaine Signature Series guitar, or one of the many Signature Series guitars that Dean put out for Dave Mustaine. So this guitar in particular, very inspired or evolved from the King V that Dave Mustaine used to use when he was in Jackson. I definitely feel like they nailed it when it came to evolving that guitar in particular, but I'll get more into that later. So this guitar comes with Dean factory DMT pickups, which honestly sound really good. They put these on all their cheap guitars, and honestly they're some of the best factory pickups that I've ever heard. This guitar has 24 frets, it's got a super thin neck, honestly one of the thinnest necks that I've ever played on a guitar, and I can see why Dean has a reputation for having thin necks on guitars. The fretboard is not ebony, it's like a darkish brown, which it looks fine to me. It's definitely darker than the one we saw on the VX I did a review of a few weeks back. In my opinion, a lot better on this one. The inlays are acrylic, which, they reflect pretty well. They're just kind of standard. For what it's worth, I mean, they look nice, but they don't luster, they just reflect. The back of this guitar, nothing too crazy going on. It's got Grover tuners, which keep tuned very well. It's got string-through construction. It's got a bolt-on neck, which I'm not a fan of, but this guitar manages to make it work, and I'll show you guys why in a bit. So I did buy this guitar used, which is why you guys see a few wear spots on the neck, but the fact that it stayed in this good of condition all these years, it just goes to show how well built this particular guitar is, or I'm hoping all Dave Mustaine Signature Series guitars. So here is another view of the neck joint on this guitar. Like I stated earlier, I don't like bolt-on necks. This guitar makes it work because the neck goes a little bit more into the body, which provides a lot more support, which prevents a lot of neck joint cracks and stuff like that. Definitely a lot different from the VX that we saw a few weeks ago. So this guitar, honestly, it's a lot better built. So the pricing on these particular guitars has gone up since Dave left Dean and went on to make some Gibson Signature Series guitars. You'll see these particular guitars online from anywhere between $500 to $800, and that is freaking insane. I got this particular guitar for $350. I managed to sell it for $400. After fees and all that, I only made a $30 profit, and I'm documenting it, so I can't bitch about it. But it's insane how much people are trying to scalp off the fact that Dave left Dean and went on to Gibson. And I mean, in a way, I get it that people are actually buying into this because they're buying the guitars because they feel, like these guitars are never going to get reissued, and they're really good guitars, so in a way I don't blame them. But still, if you scalp these guitars, you're kind of an asshole. So the first thing I noticed about this guitar after holding it and playing it after a little while is that it's very comfortable. It only weighs about 5 to 6 pounds, which is not very heavy. It's also very well balanced. I basically felt no neck dive while playing this guitar. The pickups sound great, as I've stated, and honestly some of the best pickups that I've heard that are right out of the factory, so good job on that. I would buy a set of these, and for some reason I haven't managed to find them online, but yeah, overall this is a good guitar. It's way better built than the VX I documented a few weeks back. And honestly, this is just a very good guitar, especially if you consider that this is the quote-unquote cheap-end Chinese-made guitar. So very good guitar. I can't even imagine how good the higher-end Dave Mustaine Signature Series Vs by Dean are. If this is like the cheapest one, then I imagine the other ones are really good. I might be a little biased with this guitar in terms of feel and comfort, because I came to find out that it's almost exactly like my Alexi guitars in terms of size, with the main difference being just the bottom horn. But honestly, I believe this is just a really good guitar. Just in case you guys were curious, these guitars do fit in cases that were designed by Dean V's. This guitar in particular I sold with a case that was designed for a VX, and it fits snug. Like, the edges of this guitar are flush with the cutout or the carving or the mold of the VX on the case, so it keeps it snug, it keeps it safe. So just in case you guys were curious, I just wanted to give you that extra piece of information. So final thoughts on this guitar. In terms of sound, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. These pickups sound great, especially if they're factory pickups that they put in all their cheap guitars. They definitely do a good job on that, Dean does. In terms of construction, I would give this guitar a 7.8 out of 10. It's way better built than the VX I did a review of a few weeks back, and honestly, it's built to last you a good while. In terms of aesthetics, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. This guitar is plain black just because it's the cheapest version. Ironically, it's the one that looks the most like the King V by Jackson that Dave Mustaine had. In terms of feel, I give this guitar an 8.5 out of 10. Again, I'm a little biased because it's a size that I'm familiar with because it's too much like my Alexi guitar, but I'm sure a lot of you guys out there feel the same way about this guitar. If you guys like this guitar but are not too crazy about the color, you'll be happy to know that Dean, with the higher end models, put out like a million versions in all kinds of graphics and colors. So the only problem with that is that they're a little pricey right now since people are trying to scalp them after Dave left Dean Guitars. Okay guys, that's all I have for you today. If you have questions, comments, concerns about this guitar, drop them in the comment section and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Besides that, you guys stay safe and I will see you in the next video.